A blessed, wonderful Wednesday, everybody. I would like to say thank you for being with us today. I am JV Wong from People Ignite, and I am giddy. I'm grateful and I'm overflowing with joy because I would be launching our People Manager on Cam for 2022. Maraming salamat po for being with us today, sharing with us your time, talent, and energy. Okay, mag-POL po tayo or tinatawag nating proof of life for those watching on Facebook of PMAP and live wherever you are, however you are doing this. Let's do a proof of life chat right now. At ang tanong, nako, mahirap itong tanong na ito. Ano ang kinain mo ng lunch? What did you have for lunch? This is my way to know if ako lang po ba ay nag-iisa or I am with you, with the entire PMAP family and community. All right, I'm going to look at my chat area right now. We are live on StreamYard, Facebook, and all kinds of social media platform. Go ahead, type your answer now. All right? I am also checking if I would see comments from our mga kaibigan, kapamilya, kapatid sa pananampalataya, proof of life. What was your lunch? Sana naman po nag-lunch kayo. Alright? Sabi ni Joanne Rosary, no lunch yet. Naku ma'am, sana naman po ay meron kang kainin. Inasal from Delius. Ayan na, excited na. Dumadami na ang aking mga comments. I haven't had lunch yet kasi nga naman po, 12:30 ang lunch natin. And go ahead, proof of life, type what you had or what you want to have for lunch. Ako, you know, when I have a big events such as this, I go to my comfort food. And there's 3 of them. Spam, corned beef, at sinangag na kanin. Yan po ang kinain ko preparing for today. My dear friends and PMAP family, welcome to the launch of People Manager on Cam 2022. And without any more delay, I would like to share with you what we've been sharing on social media. Today, our topic and our theme is keep faith. All right, let us show our slides at this point. And I would like to celebrate today being March 16. We have great, insightful speakers and very supportive moderators that will be having conversations from here until 2 p.m. And trivia. Pag sinabi po nating PMAP on Cam, PMAP. P stands for People Watch. That is going to be the first segment. The second segment is Musts. The third segment is Anticipate This. And the last segment before 2 p.m. is Perk Your Heart. Last year, I had the chance to be invited as a speaker being a plantita in Perk Your Heart. And I totally enjoyed the experience. Shout out to Ma'am Sarah. So, as we move forward, let me now share with you that why you should stick with us until 2 p.m. The first segment will be on faith to faith. And of course, we have our Madam President Ellen Folido. Hi, ma'am. Joanne Chung. And of course, our editor in chief, Jovenir Bataycan. That's going to be the first segment from 1 to 1:15. Let me now move forward to the next segment. And this is about managing psychological contracts. O, di ba? Medyo technical, tsaka relevant. We will have our guest, Mariel Vargas Gina, and our segment host, Jacqueline Louie. So that's going to be from 1:15 to 1:30. Moving forward, let's now go to the third segment. And letter A is Anticipate This. And the title is Manifest Your Dreams. Our guest is Cherry Pua Africa, a coach, and segment host Cecil Ramos Carlos. Nakita ko ang tech run nila. Ang ganda po ng tandem nilang dalawa. And of course, I'll be back with you, and I will be with Coach Boris of Breakthrough Leadership, and we will be talking about Faithful in Action. Super ganda ng lineup, ng launch, ng PMAP on Cam. So please stay tuned, and I suggest while you enjoy and sitting back with us, have lunch. And today I had been invited to share something that is close to my heart. And the title of my short and sweet talk today is How to Make Your Audience Virtually Ignited. All right, yan po ang title natin for the next few minutes before 1 p.m. Napakaganda po ng topic natin ngayon. How can we really engage with our audience now that we are yet still in face-to-face? May nagbabadyang virtual, may nagbabadyang face-to-face rather, and right now we are in limbo or in transition. Nasa na nga ba tayo sa era ng COVID-19? Proof of life number 2. I want to ask you this question. What is your role today? And you may type your organization. Go ahead. Again, POL for me is just making sure that while I am virtual, you are with me. All right? Going to my comments area right now. Question is, please type, you may type your name and your role and your company. Go ahead. Ang mga nakikita ko sa comments area ay mga kinain pa natin ng lunch. So pangalawang POL na po ito. Type your name, your role, and your current company today. Answering this same question, again, I'm JV. I'll be with you for the next few minutes, and I am with People Ignite, and I am one of the facilitators of the organization. All right? So, hindi ko pa nakikita ang mga sagot natin. Babalikan ko ang ating comments area. Why is that an important question to ask? Because I want to know why you are here. I want to know what made you come here today. It is in between your lunch hour, and yet you are spending time with us. Hi, Ria Hoyt said she is a facilitator, and I would like people with me today flood your comment area and please chat and let us talk. It is important to know why you're doing what you do. It is important to think, how are you going to do it? And at the end of the day, since life is short, what is the outcome you want to have in everything that you do? All right? So, still waiting for your messages. As we move forward into this title, How to Make Your Audience Virtually Ignited, a little background of who I am. I started my career way back early 2000 in Microsoft. I worked for Microsoft Philippines for 4 years, hailing Ria being my office mate at that time, Ria Hoyt. And after 4.5 years, I decided to just leave the organization and put up People Ignite from scratch. So zooming in today, we do training, team building, coaching, and planning. I remember my niece asking me, sabi niya, Tita JV, how busy are you? Siyempre, hindi ako masyado nakasagot sa tanong na yon, no? How I wish I could say, I am not busy. But yes, time is short, so many things to do, so little time. And by average, I am standing with you on the floor doing training, team building, or planning probably 3 to 4 times in a week, almost the entire week. Now, I am grateful and feeling blessed that in this 19 years of being with People Ignite, we have been in partnership with PMAP for 15 years. Grabe, no? Ang tagal na rin, 15 years. And I did EIC work or editor-in-chief work. Hi, Sir Jove. Siya na ngayon ang boss ko po. I do a lot of talks. I've done some hosting, and I love to moderate for PMAP. Yan po ang relationship ko with PMAP. Maraming salamat po sa inyong tiwala. For today, since our topic is how do we really connect with our audience virtually, let me share with you a story, and then which will flow into tips, and then hopefully all of us would think and type on our STGO. Or STGO is something to grow on. Recognizing my training partner Ron Jacobe who taught me STGO. Yan po yung tatlong outline ng pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Ready ka na po ba? Alright, sana nga, ready na. Maikling storya. So the story goes like this. In my head and in my mind, I created 3 era. The BC, DC, and AC. Hindi po ito before Christ, hindi din to after Christ. BC is before COVID, DC is during COVID, and AC is after COVID. Pag-usapan natin siguro in 1 minute ang role ng COVID sa buhay natin. COVID. Please think and type. If you are to describe the pandemic experience, can you please type one word on chat? This entire 2 years in the pandemic, what do you think is a good description for you with the pandemic? Go ahead. I will give myself a few seconds to wait for your answers. Go ahead. Sana po meron na makipag-usap sa akin. Think and type po tayo. I-describe mo ang pandemya nitong 2 taon na bumalot sa atin in one word. Alright? Life-changing. Go ahead. And I am recognizing Anna May Tabada saying, I am here to learn, and that's the role. If I may describe it, it is a joint word of roller coaster. So my entire pandemic era is really a roller coaster ride. I experienced a lot of ups and downs, lost a few relatives, had a lot of challenges. And I should say 2021, super hirap po for me and my family. But thank God, 2022, looking and seeing hope already for the new year. So when I say before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID, nahirapan din po ang team ko, ang People Ignite, pagdating sa pandemya. Because we were compelled to pivot from face to face all the way to virtual. We were not ready. We were in shock. We were very humbled. But thank you to clients that trusted us, said, kaya nyo yan, susuportahan namin kayo. So, March 15 being the lockdown period of in the Philippines back in 2020, in 45 days, we really had to pivot virtually. But you know what, guys? Ito na, heart-to-heart na ito. Whether face-to-face or virtual, kailangan meron tayong batayan or inaangklahan. Sa People Ignite po, ang aming mission statement is we exist to positively ignite others. Yan po ang pinanghahawakan namin nasaan man kami. The word ignite is very powerful. Ang definition ng ignite is to cause something to start burning, to catch on fire. Kung baga, nagliliyab. And when we say People Ignite po, ang trabaho ko sa People Ignite before COVID is I would be usually with a lot of people doing team buildings, trainings, and Think on Your Feet po, yung paborito kong programa na niraran for a few years now. Enjoy din po ako sa mga conventions at conferences. Actually, masaya po ang face-to-face dahil kita mo sila, ramdam mo ang kanilang SM aura, at ramdam na ramdam mo yung enerhiya. But of course, ano po ba ang nangyari sa atin, di ba? We didn't have any emergency toolkit to survive. We were shocked with what happened and nagtanong tayo, why does it have to happen? Who will be hit by COVID? When will it hit us? When will it hit my family? Where will it begin? And how do I move from here? Aaminin ko po, hindi naging madali ang pag-move forward ko during COVID. But you know what? The good thing about this is that nakakapag-adjust tayo. So, I am not a very techie person, pero naaral ko po. Naaral ko with the help of my people igniters, nakapag-set up ng virtual, natutunan, umiyak, humalakhak, sobrang roller coaster ride ng nararamdaman natin kapag nasa pandemya at kapag nasa virtual. Hindi po ako techie pero ang virtual task force ng People Ignite, tinuruan po akong maintindihan ang iba't ibang application. Ang favorite ko po, personal to ha, personal ay Zoom. For me, it's the easiest. And then we learned how to do Cisco WebEx, MS Teams, Kahoot, Mentimeter. Ang PMAP, magaling po in researching different apps. Kaya hindi natin maaalis ang maging creative, ang maging resourceful, at ang magtulungan during the pandemic. And this is how I learned my experiences in the virtual space. I would like to share with you before I share my tips and what I learned in the virtual space. I realized that yung audience po natin, whether it is just a meeting or whether it is a big town hall, or baka nakaka-attend ka na ng malakihang convention ng PMAP, our audience span from 1 to about 1,000. Here, I am proud to share that I spent time with Brother Bo Sanchez, one of the renowned speakers in the Catholic community, and we moderated for 1,000 doctors a few months ago. So for me, this is the largest I've had moderated for and I spoke for. But you know what, my dear friends, meron din po akong favorite na method, yung one-on-one. Zoom, MS Teams, Webex, kahit saan pa yan, Viber, Messenger, Instagram, call it, you name it, we are there. Kaya natin to, kahit na anong platform. Ngayon, my dear friends and family of PMAP, 1 to 1,000. Pag-usapan natin ang audience na hinaharap mo. So, third proof of life. Kadalasan, dear PMAP community, sino ang kinakausap mo virtually? Go ahead, type your answers on chat. Nagbabantay po ako. Tinitingnan ko kung merong nanonood sa atin, kung merong sumusuporta sa PMAP for the launch. Go ahead. Who would usually be your audience when you do your virtual speaking or meeting or facilitating? Go ahead. Waiting for, and I would like to recognize a few people who typed also. Hi, Mom Leia said exhausting as a description of the pandemic. My journey during the pandemic was existential. Wow, philosophical and very deep. Let me now go to a few answers here. Drexler said employees, clients. I pitch as a vendor. Very good. All right. Colleagues and office mates, and typically would-be clients. Tandaan po natin, importanteng malaman kung sino po ang ating audience. And I am recognizing my office mate, Christine Militante, who would always remind me, JV, audience of one. JV, audience of one. From her spiritual perspective, it is God who will do anything in His power to use our talents. It is God who calls us to do what we do. Audience of one. Yan po ang principle natin. Tapos na po tayo sa story, nabigyan ko na kayo ng context, na-share ko na rin yung challenges ko virtually adjusting to technology. Punta na po tayo sa tips. Ready na po? I am excited to share with you my favorite mindset. Part of it is the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Hi, Miss Sarah. I'm recognizing you and thank you for answering employees, partners, and PMAP network. Hi, Sarah. She was my moderator last year when we were talking about love for plants. Plantita din po ako. All right. When we talk about the audience, when we talk about you preparing for your talk, importante po ang 5W and 1H. Who means sino ba ang imimit mo? Sino ang dadalo? Who will be your audience in the virtual space? What? What is the theme? Hindi lang topic, guys, ha? Theme. You have to see it in an organizational big picture. What is the theme? What's the thrust? What is their vision, mission, and values? Kailangan i-research yan. And what is the topic handed to you? Where? Anong platform? Alright, sige. Proof of life number 4. 2 years na tayong nagbe-virtual, so I suppose medyo meron ka ng paboritong platform. I-type mo sa chat saan ka gamay. Alright? And if you type Messenger, it's totally fine. If you type Viber, it's totally fine. That's considered a communication channel. Where will you meet? Go ahead, type that on chat. Okay? So we've done Zoom, we've done MS Teams, we've done WebEx, we've done StreamYard. Minsan nakakalito at nakakaloka ang iba't ibang platform na kailangang pag-aralan. Go ahead. MS Teams, hi Maxine. All right. Well, we consider security, we consider interaction, we consider breakout room, you consider a lot of things. You consider tech runs. Let's now go to when, kailan. Kailan ka inimbita? Kailan ka magmo-moderate? Kailan ka magfa-facilitate ng meeting? Hindi pwedeng cramming, alright? Kailangan time management. As Ria Hoyt, my time management mentor would always say, if it's not in your calendar, you're not gonna do it. So when? Bigyan mo ng panahon ang sarili mong makapagprepara. Why? Bakit ka inimbita? Junket lamang ba? Or is there a value you can give to the audience? Why do they need you? Why are they doing a team building? Why are they asking you to coach them? Kapag hindi maayos or malinaw ang why, sabog ang preparasyon natin, my dear PMAP friends. And of course, ang paborito nating how, right? How are you going to do it? Anong estilo mo bilang speaker? Ang style ko ay iba sa style ni Ria. Ang style ko ay iba sa style ni Miss Sarah. Ang style ko ay iba sa style ni EIC Jove. Magkakaiba tayo. So it is important for you to know what your style is, what methodology, how much tools you will use, how much time do you have, and how are you going to do it. So, mag 5W mindset po tayo. Let's now go to the 6 igniting tips before we close our talk for this particular moment. Number 1, my favorite is daanan, hapyawan, at i-checklist ang 5 Ws and 1 H. It is important that when you're preparing for a simple talk, a simple coaching conversation, a grand convention, or a 1,000 kind of moderation, itong 5 W and 1 H, for me, it's classic tool of reference. Ask your client, ask the event organizer, ask, maging makulit ka. Kasi pag hindi ka nag-research, malay mo, di ba? Malay mo, hindi ka aligned sa tema nila. Tip number 2, guys, I hope you're with me and I hope that you're tuning in this conversation. Create a flow that will be intentional and purposeful. My dear friends, tandaan natin, alright? We're not doing the work that we do just for the sake na may sweldo tayo. No, no, no. We do this to honor God. We do this to honor our company. We do this to help and support PMAP. There should always be a purposeful intention. Kailangan solid ang why. So those are my first 2 tips. Punta po tayo sa next slide. When I said create a flow that is intentional and purposeful, I'd like to honor my FIG. FIG are facilitators and igniters group po ng People Ignite. They are my extended family. Itong sinishare ko sa inyo ay hindi lamang galing sa akin. A few days ago, I sat down with them virtually moderating this conversation on how to engage with audience ignitefully. Sa kanila po nanggaling ang intentional and purposeful. Punta po tayo sa third tip. At 12:52, kaya natin to. At 1 o'clock, guys. Number 3, connect using their lingo. Yung lengguwahe nila. Alright? Baka kasi 100% English mo, yung palang lengguwahe nila ay 90% Tagalog. Alright? So, you have to sway and you have to mold into the culture, into the language of your audience. Kung barok sila, then pwede kang magbarok. Kung full Tagalog sila, mag-aral ka na ng Filipino language mo. Kung full English, because of international attendees, you have to respect language. My dear friends, this is what I call language inclusivity and respect. Let's now go to the 4th tip. ignite their senses. Ayan, yan ang favorite ko. Ladies and gentlemen, and to everyone in the room, my favorite is igniting their senses. JV question, virtually. Paano yung sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of touch? Virtual parang sense of sight lang eh. No, no, no. You may be wrong on that one. In fact, I love the virtual space because this is where I can use the five senses. Sense of smell, I do three things: stretch, breathe, and move. I make people move. I ask people to dance. I give them micro breaks, hug their kids, uh, play with their pets for 5 minutes, come back. I make them touch virtually one another. Walang makapagpipigil, walang limitasyon, kahit naka-virtual. And kanina, tinanong ko ang proof of life, anong kinain mo? That is sense of taste. And then ang sense of hearing is very important. It is important for you to actively listen. So my dear friends, I'm on my fourth tip. Let's now go to the fifth tip. The fifth tip right here is smile. Smile. Ngumiti ka at ngingiti pabalik ang mundo sa'yo. So Mahatma Gandhi once said, if you want to see change, then you are the smile that you want to see in the world. You are the change that you want to see in the world. So just to let you know, among my photos, this is my favorite. Here I represent Team Empower. I belong in a triathlon community as a charity athlete and I represent them. We raise funds by running. We raise funds to bring back smiles of kids born with cleft lip and palate. Smile today. Walang bayad, walang ka-effort. And when you smile in front of the camera, on cam, just give them the benefit of the doubt that you're able to ignite them. All right? If I may go to the last tip, and this is for me, my core, this is for me, my secret of source of energy. I pray. I pray before the session. I pray during the session while I'm with you. And I thank God after the session. So, my dear friends, typically this is how I pray. Dear God, I'm nervous today. I might lose words. I might encounter memory gap. Be my thoughts, be my words, and be my action. Dear God, be my words, thoughts, be my words, and be my action. So, my dear friends, you've done everything you can to prepare. You did your preparation, your research, asking questions. You did a flow and content that is intentional and purposeful. During the preparation, you looked into your audience. You were trying to trigger, igniting their senses. You were asking them to chat with you, giving them micro breaks, coming back, affirming, encouraging them when we talk. Come to think about it, at the end of the day, nakakapagod. Pagod ka, alright? Gutom ka, antok ka. But come to think about it, dear God, do as you please. Dear Lord, do with me as you plan. Because my time, my talent, my effort, and my energy have to be given back to you in all your glory. My dear friends from PMAP, audience of one, whether you have one person to coach, 10 people to meet, 100 people in the town hall, or just like my unforgettable experience as a moderator for 1,000 doctors, always remember, at the end of the day, we give it back to God. So, my dear friends, I hope that you enjoyed our tips for today, starting with a little story of how it was difficult to pivot from face to virtual, seeking support from your colleagues, putting together a virtual task force, learning different apps just so to navigate the virtual space, and then loving work from home. May nagbabadya, may marites, may murmur na babalik na ba talaga tayo sa opisina Ito lang po ang aking masasabi at 12:57 before we truly launch you into the four segments of PMAP on Cam. Ito lang po ang masasabi ko. Where you are is where you should be. Where you are is where you should be. The past 2 years have been memorable, challenging, and life changing for me. I was able to spend time with Wowie, my husband, my two kids. I transitioned to homeschooling as a mom. I transitioned my entire business to virtual. Thanks be to God for a great 2 years. Feeling and heading to the post pandemic era, eto na, yung pangatlong era natin, guys, no? Yung pangatlong era natin, which is after COVID. Where you are is where you should be. My dear friends, I can't help but read a few love notes on chat. Hi, Ms. Anna May Tabada Suarez. My key takeaway from this live is identify the objective or purpose why I'm doing this. Know my audience and make sure that whatever I do, it is to honor God. Ms. Anna May Tabada Suarez, I will use that as my closing message. With that, my dear friends, I hope that you were able to enjoy our session today. And the last stretch here is, what is your STGO, or something to grow on? What is your STGO as something to grow on as you facilitate virtually? Please type that on chat, the last proof of life. My something to grow on is, I want to learn more technology tools. My STGO is, I would like to listen more actively. My STGO, go ahead guys, chat with me on this one. After listening to my 30-minute talk on virtually igniting others, what is your STGO? My STGO is to affirm, encourage people more often. Go ahead, think about it, and type it. For our PMAP friends and partners who chatted with me today, maraming salamat po at naramdaman kong hindi ako nag-iisa. Again, let's think about our STGO as we move forward. A story, a few tips, and STGO, let's learn from peers. At this point, exactly at 100, it is my joy, my honor, and my gratitude to thank our committee in PMAP on Cam. Thank you for your support. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you. I'll see you later on segment 4. Let me bring forward Ma'am Joanne Rosary Acetre, our APAC Customer Success Manager of Lee Harrison Asia Pacific. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, JV. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for that session. I really learned a lot. And good afternoon to all our viewers. I'm so excited. Welcome to People Manager on Cam. This is the online show of the People Management Association of the Philippines, the premier organization of HR and business leaders in the country. This is our first episode for 2022. I'm so excited to be with you all on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. My name is Joanne, as JV has introduced me. Thanks a lot, JV, for introducing me. I am your host for today. Our show will air every third Wednesday afternoon of the month, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., and we have 4 segments. All of these segments aim to share and discuss critical HR and business matters. Thank you so much to all of your comments in the chat. Do keep them coming. And also, if you have any questions to our host or guest later on, do send them in and we would like to interact with you. Before we get into our show, I would just like to ask if you have checked our People Manager magazine online. So aside from this online show, we also have our monthly magazine. Check that out, www.peoplemanager.ph. And I would like to invite you, have the chance to be featured in our People Manager magazine online by answering the question, how can a company best show its love for its employees? So we have that. That is in our February magazine, and we would love to get your insights. What are your thoughts about strategies, practices? How can a company best show its love for its employees? And we will look for the top 5 most unique answers. We will have the editorial team as the judges, and it will be featured in our March edition. Email us your answer on or before March 21st to qualify. We're looking forward to that. So let's get on to our show. As I have mentioned, we have 4 segments. P is for People Watch. We will highlight our peers, leaders in HR and business, or upcoming talents in the community. Then we have our must. This second segment enables us to be updated with the musts in life, making sure that we do not miss current issues, urgencies, or items that are non negotiables for business leaders like us. And the third segment, A, anticipate this. We will talk about things, events, ideas, innovations, or breakthroughs that we all need to look forward to. P, fourth segment, prick your heart, be excited with health and wellness, lifestyle tips, fashion trends, and hobbies. Now, we will go to our theme for this month. We are celebrating Holy Week next month. And so, our theme for today's episode is faith. To our viewers, let us know your questions or comments through the comment box. And I will borrow your term, JV, if you will allow me. So, proof of life, do type in what is your definition of faith? And we all have faith in a higher being. Though, of course, we have different beliefs, we come from different religions. Let us know, for you, what is faith? How do you define it? We want to chat with you. Do send in your comments through the chat box, and we would love to hear your thoughts. Let's get started. Let's go to our first segment, People Watch. Again, for questions or comments, do send them in, and we will talk about our first topic, faith on faith. I'm so excited to introduce our 2 segment hosts for this People Watch segment. First is our People and Culture Director of Expressions Stationery Shop, Miss Joan Chung, and she has a partner, the Managing Consultant of Idea Central, our Editor-in-Chief for our magazine, Mr. Jovener Bataikan. Joan and Job, over to you.
Thank you
Good
so much,
afternoon.
Miss
Yeah.
Joe.
Miss Joan,
Hi, Joe.
Joan, I'd like to ask what vitamins are you taking? She was so ignited. Yeah, she's so ignited.
Oh
That's the
my.
JB Wong effect.
I
Yeah,
love the energy, right?
yeah.
All
So,
right. It's a pleasure sharing the stage with you today for our segment, Jove. And today,
you.
Jove and I would like to invite you to a casual conversation to talk about faith in our people. So join us as we go faith to faith with none other than our PMAP president, Miss Ellen Fulido.
Good
Ma'am,
afternoon, Ellen.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joan
And
and
Thank you so
Job.
much for
Grabe,
joining us
you were
today.
asking about the vitamins that Joanne earlier
yeah,
took,
the
no?
vitamins.
Parang ang tawag yata doon, hyper tablet.
I
She was so ignited and I was like
yes,
listening to JV. You cannot help but be ignited talaga with the kind of energy and passion that my friendship has.
yeah.
Talagang ganyan siya. So
And by
you'll
the
be
way,
excited.
today's episode is not just about the upcoming Lenten season. It's also about the women power. So JB Wong actually exhibited such great power just 30 minutes ago. I mean, yeah, 30 minutes back. And now I'm with the president of PMAT, of course, Ms. Joan. So let's talk about faith.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Before we start, siguro, I'd like to greet all the women here. Happy Women's Month. And to all the guys, for your wife, sister, mom, even daughters, Happy
Yeah,
Women's Month to everybody. Women have come to the fore. Di ba, Joan?
Yes, that's right.
I'm
Thank
I'm
you,
I'm
Miss Ellen.
overpowered by women right now, so I
No. You know,
everything
my
you
mom
say.
used to tell people, wala akong anak na babae. Everyone in the family is a male.
Oh,
Belongs
okay.
to
Same. Pareho tayo, Ma'am Ellen.
Oo nga eh. Only,
So,
only ano ka ba, girl?
And just a question:
yeah.
why don't we? I do we celebrate Men's Month?
Parang ang pangit
Parang
pakinggan eh,
wala,
no?
no?
I
Parang,
think we always
parang,
celebrate Men's Month.
Ah,
Men, di ba?
Father's
Every
Day. Yes.
yeah.
special.
Father's Day. Diba? Father's Day is in
Yes,
June.
Father's Day. Yes, 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 we
Father's
do.
Day, yes.
But
Parang to me, it's like, that's a salute to all the men.
yeah,
Whether you're a
you're a
father
father or
or
not.
a
Yeah,
father, maybe you're single, but to me, I take that as honoring men,
Hmm.
all the men in this
Yeah.
planet, 'di ba?
yes,
Parang in the same token because yung Mother's Day kasi is different eh. Mother because you have a child, you're rearing a child whether it's a biological born child
Right.
or adopted.
And,
Once
and
you
speaking of that, ma'am, no, parang ano, it relates rin to the topic, di ba? Like, yung faith natin in people and yung faith natin sa pinanggalingan natin, no? And when we talk about faith in people, it also brings me back to my college years when my professor asked us what it meant, no, to say that I have faith in you. So, ma'am, can you indulge us? How do we distinguish faith from trust?
Siguro, no, let me, kasi usually faith is associated with our faith in the Lord, faith in
Mm-hmm.
God, faith in the Supreme Being, whether you're a Muslim, you're a Catholic or Christian. It's always that faith in the Supreme Being, as mentioned by Joanne earlier, that we believe in God. But let me differentiate belief from faith.
Mm-hmm.
These are two related words, but there's a differentiation because when you believe, belief in Tagalog is paniniwala. Naniniwala ka. Whereas faith in Tagalog is pananalig. So, bukod sa spelling, ano pinagkaiba? Yung paniniwala, you put your trust and confidence into something or to someone because there's proof. There's a tried, tested, and proven incident that makes you believe into something or into someone. For example, you've heard about and you've siguro for years, Reader's Digest has been running a best brands campaign, di ba? Meron silang awards. So lahat yan in all aspects. And then because naniniwala ka na itong produktong to without endorsing anything. Like for example, Biogesic,
Right.
mabisa no without the after effects, without the inconvenience. Naniniwala ka kasi na-experience mo 'yun.
Mm-hmm.
Ini-endorse ng mga artista, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Naniniwala ka doon. So you believe in that. Whereas in faith, you put your trust and confidence into something or or to someone without even seeing it,
Mhm.
without
Okay.
even proof. Malalim yung
Right.
ibig sabihin ng faith. Hindi siya yung hindi mo man makita, hindi mo man siya, wala kang ebidensya. You don't have any evidence at all. You don't have any proof and yet you believe. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's this element of trust. You cannot have belief or faith into something or or to someone without the trust element. Paano ka maniniwala? Hindi ka nga, wala kang trust na sinasabi natin. So, these are two different things. Malalim yung faith. Kasi kahit di mo alam, di ka nakakasigurado, but there's always this association of hope that in the end, you will succeed. That this person will really make your company, will deliver results for your company, and will really make things happen, no? Almost miraculously. Kahit di mo pa napuprove, wala ka pang proof eh. Kunyari, new hire to, nag-apply sa'yo. You saw the potential, kita mo na kaagad yung credentials. During the interview, etong batang to, malayo mararating nito eh. Wala ka pang
Mm-hmm.
proof, pero yung faith mo na kaya niya, and maybe even more. And maybe this person, when I take this person, will deliver beyond our expectations, will go the extra mile, and will, propel the company into higher level of success. Alam mo yun, yung gano'n, hindi mo pa nga
Yeah.
alam eh, kaka-graduate nga lang nito eh, 'di ba? Parang I was once asked by a CEO, you're a newly grad applicant. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have any experience at all. Why will I hire you? What makes you think like you can do the work? You know what I said?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm a newly grad, but I have this conviction. I am passionate with what I do. I am committed to work really hard and help your company. Yes, I don't have any work experience except that I worked in Jollibee when I was in college. Just to while the time away kasi dami kong vacant periods. So I said, yes, I don't have any experience. But how can I have one if you don't give me one? I got the
Right.
job. Yun yung clincher doon, tingin ko. Kasi lakas ng loob na itong batang to. wala, wala pa
Classy
naman pa.
also, di ba?
Diba? Oo,
Yeah.
diba?
But
So,
at work, ma'am, if I may ask that, at work, people, companies really in fact, it's one of the values, most common values for companies, yung loyalty na yan. And they're
Yes.
expecting us to have faith in the organization. Kahit pa ilang beses tayong, for example, hindi na meet yung mga commitments kasi faith is non-evidentiary. It doesn't have to have evidence or proof, di ba? Sinabi niyo po. But the thing is, paano po yan? Like, when companies actually say have faith in us, and then we get disappointed from time to time, tapos we hold on to something na, remember, it's correlated to rewards, di ba? If you're faithful, you'll be rewarded with, heaven after life, for example, or gift, for example. So how
Yeah.
do we correlate that when companies actually extract loyalty from that? Is a form of faith, by the way.
Yes, alam nyo, the two of you, I'll take the pandemic period as a classic example of having faith in people and having faith in your company. Because these are um, two things that come together. Hindi pwedeng isa lang. Hindi pwedeng
Mhm.
yung tao lang yung naniniwala sa kumpanya
Mm-hmm.
or yung kumpanya lang ang naniniwala dun sa mga empleyado niya. This should come together because this is a symbiotic thing. There's a give and take here.
Yes.
Sabi mo nga kanina, if you're faithful to God, eventually, you know, when you say you're faithful to God, you have to bear your cross. Alam natin na it's not gonna be easy. The road will be thorny. It's not going to be an easy path going to heaven and be rewarded there. You have to go through trials, difficulties, adversities. Ganun din sa kumpanya. So,
Mhm.
take a classic example. We're going to focus on the pandemic period. During the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of businesses closed. So if the company, if you see that the company is doing everything just to preserve the entire organization, just to make sure that people will still have work to do, still get their salaries, alam nyo, it takes a lot of communicating properly to people. It takes a conscious and sincere effort to be transparent, communicate with your, napaka-importante ng communication in building trust, right? Kasi how can you build trust when you don't communicate this to people? Honestly, at the onset of the pandemic or siguro weeks before the pandemic, we had to call on a town hall meeting to tell
Mhm.
employees this is our situation now. We're at code red. We prepared our business plans code red in preparation for the ultimate lockdown. This is what we're going to do. Um, we may have to suspend payment of our bonuses. We will have to cut down on overtime unless it's very, very necessary. We will limit the overtime because if your income is not coming in as expected, then the other way to preserve your funds is to cut down on costs, right?
Yes.
And you
Right.
need the help of everybody. So we will be sending people at home. We will help you. We had to let our employees take home even the desktop computers just so we
That's right.
make sure that they have tools to continue working. We have to give allowances at least on connectivity just so they're not burdened because there's a pay cut already. We're doing a
Mhm.
furlough. Management committed to take a pay cut. You know, I was just like getting 50% of my salary for more than a year.
Wow.
And we
Yeah.
did that just because we need to sacrifice. Again, for you to get the reward, you need to do some sacrifices. In the end, the employees will be there to see things through because they believe it's our faith in the company that will move us no
That's
matter
right.
how difficult the situation might be, right? So we're all in this together because we communicated and we told them, you know what, they said, I can take a pay cut but I cannot afford to lose my job.
Mhm.
I have a family to support. I
Yeah.
have kids who go to school kahit online pa yan. I have a sick parent. Somebody needs help. I'm sending my siblings to school. It's better than nothing at all. Parang kanta yun, no? Parang if you know that this company is doing a lot just so we preserve everything in the company in the hope that in the coming months things will be better. There's this always
Yes.
glimmer of hope that at the end of the tunnel there is light. And these people will be with you. Again, the reward. When we speak of reward, you have to work for it. You just don't
Mm-hmm.
expect the company to reward you for something.
Yeah.
Kailangan pagtrabahuhan mo yun.
It's
Di
a
Yes,
ba?
two-way
reward.
You
street,
won't be
no?
employee of the year kung hindi mo pinagtrabahuhan yun. So
That's
Yeah.
why
you have
we have faith in you, Ma'am Ellen. And we're so and
Right?
team is so lucky to have you at the helm, especially in a very
to
challenging year.
ako, I've always, ako kasi medyo expressive ako na tao. When I appreciate something, I really convey the message because I think people need to know that they're doing well. 'Di ba? In the same
Yes.
manner, uh, kung meron kang kailangang improve, you also tell people. But there's different people, different strokes, 'di ba? Different folks, different strokes. So each and every person, especially in my company, no, in my organization, and even in PMAP, iba-iba
Yes.
yung style na gagamitin mo when you talk to them. Yung iba, ang sabi ko nga yung iba kailangan hahagurin mo, medyo
Right.
lalambingin, yung iba naman kailangan mo ng i-collar, yung mga ganun. Pero but the end of the day, again, as I said, if you're a leader in your company, there's always a sincere and conscious effort to really reach out to people and tell them exactly the scenario, because at the end of the day, these are the same set of people who will help you. And
Yes.
having faith and trust in them is knowing that these people will pull through and see you through, and which we did. No, I think I shared this with some people. At the onset of the pandemic, our company was just making 40% sales. Can you beat
Mm-hmm.
that? Diba? Pero naniwala ka na sa dulo-dulo nito, makakabawi kami. It's just that we really just have to make some sacrifices. We need to be patient about it. And we did.
Thank
Okay.
you,
Together
ma'am.
with our
Mhm.
people.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for that sharing, ma'am. Unfortunately, it's all the time we have left. And sayang, bitin na bitin talaga tayo sa oras
Wow.
natin. Thank you so
Yes.
much for sharing your insights with us,
My
Miss Ellen.
pleasure.
Thank
I
you.
wish I could contribute some more, but
Yeah.
I guess we were out of time. Siguro some other time we'll do again other sharing. So
It's yes.
I hope I cannot read the chats anymore. So um, I hope I was able to enlighten some of
Definitely,
our
ma'am.
friends and
Yes,
colleagues.
in a very light way, ma'am. You've actually
Yes,
delved into a very
yes,
deep topic. So napaka, we're so grateful, and it puts faith in the right perspective.
yes.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Joan?
Maraming salamat sa inyo at magandang hapon.
Good
Yes.
afternoon. Back to you, Miss Joanne.
Thank you so much, President Ellen. Thank you so much for your insights and for your sharing. Thank you also, Joan and Joe, for hosting that nakakabitin na discussion. And I actually like the point earlier when you lose your faith in the company or with your leaders, because we all know that hindi naman lahat ng gusto natin is present in a company or a leader or even with our office mates. No, for me, I go back to my faith. No, what is my role here? The Lord has a plan for me, and then of course I pray and ask for discernment. What am I to do? What is my role here? What is the lesson? So thank you so much for your insights there. How about you? So those who are watching with us this afternoon, what is faith for you? One word. What is it for you? For me, I would say probably anchor. So it gives me direction, it inspires me, it motivates me. The other word is Jesus. So that is faith for me. How about you? Do send in the comment, and we would love to know what is faith for you. And while you are doing that, let us move to our second segment, must. Again, we have different faith. This is about faith. We come from different beliefs, different religions, different groups, and sometimes we don't feel comfortable sharing about our beliefs, because we are afraid, we are concerned that there would be judgments against us, and some people would would be driven by their biases, and we just don't feel comfortable. That is what we will talk about: managing psychological contracts. How do we feel safe so that we will thrive even if we have different background or different beliefs? We have as our segment host the founder and owner of Movimentum Leadership and Management Consultancy, Jacqueline Loy. Hi, Jackie. Good afternoon.
Hi, Joanne. Good afternoon. Our guest for our must segment today specializes in learning and change, who has nurtured or who has been nurtured by his 19 years of experience. His passion is best nestled in designing OD and learning programs using brain based or neuroscience and psychology based approaches. He started his career in HR with Panasonic Philippines as a senior HR supervisor and then worked as HR director of Clark Polytechnic. Then he joined the academy before migrating to Canada. It is indeed exciting to have meaningful conversations with our guest today who has a horizon of experiences being an independent organizational development and learning consultant in Canada, a registered psychologist in the Philippines, internationally certified as senior professional in human resources, and the chair of PMAP Academe Industry Committee for 2022. I am deeply honored to invite everyone to put our hands together to warmly welcome Mariel Migs Vargas Gina.
Hello.
Hi, Migs.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Would you like to say something to our audience this afternoon?
Well, after hearing one of my idols in PMAP, President Ellen, ang ganda ng explanation about faith, no? Faith and belief, no? It's yeah, ang ganda. It's for personal and even for work. Ang ganda ng application. And good evening here. Good afternoon sa Pilipinas.
Yeah. I'm very honored to have you this afternoon, Migs. So hindi na ako magpa-ligoy-ligoy pa. I will give you my first question. No? So
Okay.
from your lens, what is psychological contract?
Basically, psychological contract is unwritten and informal, sabihin nating contract, no? And it is about commitment, understanding, and expectation, even belief between employee and company. But most of the time, it's between employee and line managers, because the focus of interaction, that's where the psychological contract would evolve, no? Yung kung laging nandun yung relationship, usually dun siya because it's the human part of a work relationship.
Yeah. Thank you, Mig. So it sends across to me here that the psychological contract, as you mentioned, is a commitment. It gives also the confidence and the clarity moving forward on how we are going to relate with each other. That's so beautiful. So, what makes now psychological contract meaningful for the leaders and the employees?
It's meaningful, and not only meaningful, actually it's very crucial, it's very important. Sabi ko kanina, it's the human side. It's actually the unconscious assumption. So kung titignan natin, this is the fuel ng everyday relationships sa work. But the thing about it, it's tacit, meaning it's implied. It is understood and implied, but it's not spoken or written kasi nga, it's a psychological contract, no? And I'll relate this dun sa sharing ni President Ellen. We're talking of psychological contract. In the middle of the core of psychological contract is actually trust and confidence. Pero if I'll borrow President Ellen explanation, in faith, you believe in something. Sabi nga niya, you put your trust and confidence into something that you didn't even know, but you do that because you believe something powerful, something good, something beneficial is there. In the language of psychological contract, that's about actually integrity. So we believe that this contract, I will benefit from my company would benefit on me. We put our trust on that. Minsan, the expectations are not being served. The assumptions we have in a psychological contract, like they would value me, etc., etc. But of course, not all the time those are being served. But because you think there is an integrity sa organization, the psychological contract is still maintained. So ang ganda ng explanation ni President Ellen, because even in psychological contract, it's the same. So laging may integrity, because when there's integrity, you trust in something. So even though your expectation are not being served, you still balance the psychological contract. And that's make it meaningful because if that is breach, meaning hindi na satisfy yung gina-expect mo. Something very psychological about this kasi even before hiring, nabubuo na yung psychological contract. Like, oh, pupunta ako sa ABC company. Yeah, magandang magpasweldo dyan. Mababait ang mga managers. Then during hiring, further, mas nag-evolve siya, mas nade-develop siya. No? And then, as you socialize in the organization, the more na nade-develop siya. So, if that is breached, for example, na-develop sa akin yung nag-evolve sa psychological contract ko yung I am part of ZB company. And I know they would trust me and they would promote me if I'll do my best and if I'll go out of my way and work beyond the expected time. Tapos biglang na breach yun, then that will be problematic. Sabihin na natin, demotivated ako, I would even resign sa iba. No? Kaya nga, yung mga correlated variables dito is turnover, motivation, commitment, and different factors. Actually,
Yeah.
napaka-broad niya eh.
Yeah, that's so wonderful sharing, Migs. So what really comes across to me as you're sharing with me, I formed the word tip. No, it's because that letter T is the trust. So as you mentioned that at the time that the employee already signed the job offer, the trust of both parties is already there, is already formed, and that it should be taken care of. It should be taken care of by integrity. That's the I of the tip. And you mentioned it's psychological and it is powerful. So that's the letter P. So it's a tip that we are
Yeah.
bringing in together and relating with each other together as the employee and the management. So you mentioned a little bit about some elements. Can you elaborate further, Migs, on what are the elements or indicators of the presence of a psychological contract?
Honestly, once there is a socialization, there's a presence of people like an employee and the employer, but usually it's employee and the manager or even a supervisor, regardless. Um, Automatic, there's a psychological contract. Sabi ko kanina, it's unconscious assumption. Siguro kung i-define natin siya, kung if we'll choose a word, no, it's basically a subjective assumptions.
Mm.
The most simplest term is actually perception. When you talk about psychological contract, it's basically perception. But perception that this is what I do and I'll get this, and therefore you see me doing this and you'll give me that. I mean, you give me what I expect. And kasi nasa gitna siya lagi ng employer or manager and employee. If we're talking about elements, it's basically perception. Sabi, parang simple niya, no? But actually, because it's just perception, or not just perception, it is perception. Therefore, it's hard to manage. Unless we actually do sa part ng HR, we actually do what would manage those expectations. So very important dyan, we always communicate. We manage and agree on expectations. No, we even measure yung attitudes ng mga employees natin, like survey feedback, attitude feedback, organizational climate measure, and those are actually form of communications, like really knowing what's happening in the grassroots level of this organization. So if we do those, then we could manage it.
Yeah, wonderful, Migs. In a very short time, you're really able to really make me feel that how psychological contract really is very powerful. You mentioned about the assumptions, the perceptions that is in between, and that is so intangible, as you mentioned, and that meaningful conversations can really bridge that. And just for a last tip, Migs, for our last portion of our conversations today, in what manner the leaders can really take care of that? And on the other hand, in what manner as well can employees take care as well of the psychological contract?
Babalik ako dun sa sinabi ko kanina. It's very important that we clarify expectations. When words are not spoken and we leave everything to interpretation, meaning perception, then a lot of things could actually develop. So it's always very important that we manage expectations on the part of the employee and on the part of the employer. We communicate, even if it is a bad news. We would rather deliver bad news and at least we're honest. Kesa sa we promise something and then the other party is expecting it and it won't happen. Then there's a breach of psychological contract and then the downward spiral would happen. They would feel demotivated. They would think they're not valued. They would have less commitment with I mean in the company and eventually yun na, no? Yung mga resignations and other not pro-social behaviors, meaning yung antagonism, etc., etc. But I would go back again to a good point by President Allen. Even if we do all these things, like we manage expectation, we provide training, sabihin na natin, we do everything. It's still very important that we preserve integrity because the core of psychological, a positive psychological contract is integrity. Because not all the time, kasi fluid siya eh. Psychological contract is very fluid. It would change. And not all the time, psychological contract is being satisfied. That's impossible because a lot of factors affect psychological contract, like age, your dreams in life, your personality. So therefore, it's always very important that you preserve that integrity because when you have that integrity, then the trust and confidence would still exist, even though the expectations are not being met.
Yeah.
And basically, that's how you
Yeah.
it's a healthy, positive psychological contract.
Thank you, Migs. It's really more of the conversations and the presence of both the leader and the employee in that conversations. So it's so rich the conversation we have today, and I really hate to end it because it's so beautiful and it's a wonderful conversations. So Migs, I would like to bring this back our conversation now to Joanne.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, Migs. Thank you so much, Migs. I know it's late at your end, and you are still with us. We really appreciate, we really honor that. And of course, Jackie, thank you also for hosting that segment. I like what Migs said about integrity, and also, of course, communicate. Always communicate. I think it's better to over communicate. We always say that. Don't just assume na gets na ng mga employees niyan, right? So we need to really make sure we check in. I think while they were talking, I also, a thought came to my mind. Psychological contract is like a marriage contract, right? So we trust the other person. We know that we would have our differences. We would have, different ideas, but we trust the other person, and we know that there is that agreement. We will talk. There's integrity. We trust, and we have faith in each other. Going back to our question, what is faith? JV said, faith is hope for better things to come. And then Jansen also said, faith is taking the risk. How about you? Those who have not yet sent in their comments, or also if you have any questions to our guests, do let us know, and we will raise that question to our guests so that we would, find out what their thoughts are about your questions. So let's get to our third segment. Time goes by so fast. We are now in our third segment. Anticipate this. This time, we will have the director for Curious Cat Group and an HROD consultant facilitate our third segment, which is entitled Manifest Your Dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our segment host, Cecil Ramos Carlos. Hi, Cecil. Over to you.
Hi, Jo. Thank you so much. It's great to see you. And in fact, it's great to be here with everybody. I'm super hyped to be back again with all of you here on PMM On Cam. Good afternoon, and thank you yet again for joining us here, especially for this 2022 Pausad episode. This is our first episode, in fact, for 2022. And I thank you for being with us and for hanging on to your hats for this Anticipate This segment with me, your host, Cecilia Ramos Carlos, and our guest, the girl on fire, Coach Sherry Africa. So, this episode, we put the spotlight on dreams, particularly on how to manifest your dreams. And as I shared earlier, for this mind churning topic, we are joined by the girl on fire, Coach Cherry Africa. Coach Cherry is one of the world's leading thought experts in neuro linguistic programming, or NLP. She has been awarded Asia's most distinguished leader, global woman achiever, and is one of the most recognized top 100 most influential Filipinas in the world. She is a full time coach, trainer, motivational speaker, business consultant, author, and fire walking trainer. Na-excite ako doon. Cherry is one of the leaders in the human transformation industry in the Asia Pacific region, forging the co-creation of the new world force rising at the heat of the pandemic crisis. Fiery, welcome to you, Coach Cherry. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Awesome, awesome afternoon, Cecil, and to everyone listening.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here.
Awesome afternoon back to you, Coach Sherry. Siyempre pa, bago ang lahat, no? Because you are a hot tamale guest, igigirl agad kita. Kung bakit ka
Mainit,
umaalab?
mainit.
Mainit. Nainita na nga ako. Bakit ka umaalab? Why are you known as the girl on fire?
Cecil, that's a very interesting question. Thank you for that. And I hope I did not disappoint any of our listeners here expecting Katniss Everdeen. But isn't she such a model of, excellence? Girl on fire because we'd like to bring in energy to our field, to our planet. And Katniss Everdeen actually exudes that model of excellence, right? For an ordinary girl to actually flex herself in this extraordinary field so that she is able to achieve, breakthrough things. And essentially, this is basically what my mission is, together with my team at World Stage International, to fire up this planet, our world, so that people will go to work not just with their bodies but with their souls on fire. And when we are able to bring that kind of energy, we are able to bring faster and bigger results and more fulfilling and meaningful results too.
Thank you so much for that, Coach Cherry. No? So today in this segment, actually, I'm so glad to have you here. What we're going to talk about is manifesting your dreams, focusing on, so ang dami kasing dreams, Coach Cherry.
Mm-mm.
So we'll just focus on dreams that's connected to career success, no? How to make our careers better or how to find successes in our career. Ang dami kasing klaseng dreams, so focusing lang tayo dyan, no? So, in this topic, I'd like to jump right away into asking you this question, no? Ano nga ba? What does it mean ba to have a dream, no, that is relevant to your career? What kind of a dream is that?
Dream is a future state. No, we are here right now in our present state. And so everything that is in the future, if you put in a lot of good thoughts, a lot of good feelings, you look and aspire to reach that. That's what dreams are. It's like our North Star, our vision.
Yes,
And
thank you.
we
And
are
then,
excited.
yes, so some future state where you now have something to aspire for or to work
Mhm.
for, no? But is it therefore a crucial thing for us in finding our career successes? Pwede ba tayo maging successful nang wala tayong dreams? In your
Parang
opinion?
mahirap, no? Cecil, no? When you talk
Parang
about
mahirap.
success, you talk about a future state, you talk about a vision. So if there is no dream, then what will validate everything that we are doing at the present state? If it is right or wrong, if we are in the right direction, if we don't even know what we are headed towards. So dreams or goals or aspirations, they are so precious to us because it guides us. It also excites us. Now, our goal right now as people managers, I guess, is to be able to catalyze the energy of the future and bring it to the present. because people at present, and usually a lot of the things that we do, and we keep doing things over and over again, no, every day it's really just grind for us. It hardly becomes transformational. It's usually transactional. It's the dream that transforms and shifts our state and makes us more excited, more inspired, so that we could keep doing even the most difficult, challenging things, no, and it actually means something to us. So that is the importance of a vision, and our role is to actually transform this vision into mission. And by mission, we say these are things that we do every day. It just gives a lot more meaning to the things that we do every day.
True. So do you see, is there a way for us, no? Hearing you say that, is there a way for us to craft our dreams effectively, no?
Mhm.
How do we craft effective dreams so that swak siya dun sa ating what we want to achieve or what we can achieve? Is there
Mhm.
steps there in crafting effective dreams?
Yes, there is, Cecil. No, we have dreams. We have professional dreams. We have personal dreams. Let's talk about professional. No, let's say, for example, we have dreams for our team or dreams for the kind of culture that we want to participate in. We have to first know what it is that we want in terms of tangible physical thing. It is so important that we're able to translate something that's abstract to something that's really more concrete, so that when we get there, we know we are there. There is evidence, no? So that's the first thing, to really know what it is and to be very specific, because our dreams, when we write it, let's say, for example, we set goals, that is actually the conscious mind telling us to write these goals. But to achieve these goals, it is our unconscious mind or our subconscious that's going to manifest a lot of this into reality. And hence, by writing it, we provide specific instructions to our consciousness, to, so that to our consciousness, so that we will know how to act, the energy that we will use to invest, no, in the journey. So knowing the what is important, knowing the why is also important. It provides purpose and meaning and vision. I guess also identifying the context of our dream. For example, when the dream must be achieved, with whom the dream must be achieved, where the dream must be achieved. We need to write it down. It has to be so specific, because there will be so many things, many interferences along the way. I call it the messy middle, that's going to stop us and say, no more, no more. So we've got to be led, and we've got to be led by this dream, by the specifics of this dream, so that we could get, we could push ourselves forward over and over again. The processes, it's important to write the processes, the steps, the action plans, and to also rehearse the difficult situations that may arise as a result of us pursuing our dream. Dito tayo madalas nagkakamali, Cecil, kasi we write step 1, step 2, step 3, but we don't write the potential obstacles that will stop us and that will make us give up. So when we write it down, we anticipate it. It's a lot easier to take because we are prepared. The body is prepared, the skills are ready, the spirit is ready, and we are ready to engage with whatever enemies that will come in front of us that will derail us from pursuing our dreams. Kasi mahaba ang journey eh. It's a journey. So we need to make sure we have the stamina and the grit to finish the journey. So goal seeking is as much important as goal setting.
Yes, yes. So basically, we start with a little bit of introspection, no? To now see where do we anchor our dreams and what dreams do we want. So that's, I think, the first thing that you said. It's best to set the dream and then organize yourself so that
Mhm.
now you're able to see where this dream might potentially go, including all of the potential challenges. Tama ba, Coach Jerry?
Tama, no, Cecil. And I think when you mentioned something about organize ourselves, I want to say we need to organize our nervous system. Now, by nervous system, all parts of us, no, our head,
Oh,
our heart, and our guts. These are our three brains. They need to be all aligned towards, they need to conspire with each other towards fulfilling our dreams. Now, our head is responsible for analyzing, rationalizing our dreams. Our heart is for our values, for our compassion, for our relations with other people, and our gut is all about courage. And when we are able to organize these things, then we are able to actually thrive forward there. So important yan. And it's also important that as people managers, no, as human beings, our dreams, our goals must be self-initiated and self-maintained, which means that no matter, regardless of who gives up in the journey, it is still going to push through. Hindi pwede natin sabihin, for example, oh, my manager decided not to pursue this, so it didn't happen, because it is self-initiated. We are in control and in charge of the fulfillment of this dream. Hence, we will never be at victim mindset. We will always feel like we're in charge. So, importante yan. So, if somebody feeds the dream for us, somebody tells us what we need to do, and we are not personally invested into the process, all that's actually pushing us is that compliant DNA. Kailangan lang tayo mag-comply for self-preservation so that we get promoted, we
Yeah.
don't get fired, etc. But it is short-lived, and it's so hard to actually sustain the energy in compliance. We need to make sure the spirit, the emotions, the soul, they are as engaged and committed to the process so that we could see this through till the very end.
Yes, I love that, no? Engaging the head, the heart, and the gut. Tama, that way you're truly, fully parang naka-attach sa'yo yung dream. So you have the going power to really um, create, no? Turn it into a reality for yourself. Parang meron ka talagang um, going power. You will persist, no? Kasi ang hirap nga niyan eh. A lot of people do have dreams. However, after a while, they lose the gumption to make the dreams come
Yes.
true. So
When we
I
talk
love
about
that.
dreams, if I
Yeah.
just may add, Cecil, di ba? When we talk about dreams, we see that when we're sleeping, right? I mean, those are what I dreamt last night, for example. We say it like that. But the truth is, dreams must be those things that prevent us from sleeping. No, I like to call it para silang bed bugs. It's stinging us. We can't sleep because it is just, we are just so fired up, so inspired that we can't wait for the next day for us to pursue these things. So we cannot just, we have to see it, we have to feel it, and we have to catalyze it. It's sort of like an anchor that tells us. That's why it's so important that these dreams are not just words that we write. This is what I want to achieve. This is the amount of, money that I want to save, the weight I wanted to be at by the end of the year. We need to be able to catalyze it in terms of images, in terms of soundtrack, in terms of feelings at the present. Otherwise, it's going to be hard because emotions are dirty. It goes through a dirty emotion, processing system, and a lot of it we are actually stopped by negative emotions, and so we tend to give up, right? So we need to manage our emotions as much as our thoughts.
Yes. So yeah, that's such a good quote, no? Dreams are what should keep us awake. So
Awake.
kabaliktaran ng when we dream, we're sleeping. This is awake dreams. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for that. One last na lang, Coach Cherry. Could you give me an anecdote or a short story to just tell us also in your experience, what have any time that you have had dreams, and through your grit, through your own push, you were able to achieve it.
A few years ago, because I lived outside of the Philippines, no, I was in Singapore and Malaysia, and I have been wanting to, dreaming to come back to the Philippines, no, my country, and try and help fire up the national consciousness of everybody, so that the Filipinos will start to elevate our thoughts and our emotions, so that we will feel we're in charge of our future. And one of the things that I aspired for is to actually be a global thought expert in NLP, and to also use the metaphor of the fire, so that we could bring the energy to teams and do a lot of fire, team building, team awakening activities. One of the things that I aspired for in terms of the dream is to be a firewalk instructor. And so I studied it, I learned it, but the process to become that instructor was really just so hard. I almost gave up when I was in the States studying it, because I had to actually walk on fire for 2 hours straight on barefoot. And it was really punishing. It was punishing. And I didn't have enough preparation physically to go through that, even though the mental and the spirit were actually strong. The physical flesh was not strong enough. But I persisted because I anchored onto the vision and of that particular dream, seeing myself in the future state, going back to my country and helping build teams. So that vision, that energy made me go through it. And I am, we continue to do it. 500,000 people in the Philippines, we have fired them up. And it was so difficult through the pandemic year, pandemic years, having to actually pivot from offline to online, losing a lot of our work with teams, losing the context for our work. But we were able to recover it. It's all because I'm reminded of how I was able to, to concretize the dream before. And so it can happen again. And, it just adds up to make us better people. Our journey as pilgrims of our own hero's journey enables us, to become better versions of ourselves so that when we are presented with, similar situations, we're able to overcome faster.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your hero's journey. Medyo na ano ako dun yung walking on fire, no? So, the truth is that shows not only your emotional, mental preparation and grit for manifesting your dreams, but also your physical
Mhm.
physical grit, no? Na talagang because kasama na yung merong nararamdaman na physical, but you went on and um, created your reality. So I'm so thankful for having you here today. And to everyone else, just as a reminder, again, from this session, we learn to organize ourselves, organize our dreams so that we can achieve it, manifest it. And remember to put in your head, heart, gut, because dreams are what should keep us awake. Thank you so
Wonderful.
much,
Thank
Coach
you.
Sherry. Thank you so much. It's been a fun, hot afternoon with you. Hot talaga.
Keep being
I
fired up
love,
and awake all the time.
yes. Again, I'd like to say you are awesome.
Thank
And with
you.
that,
Same to
I
you.
will take back to you, Jo.
So much. Thank you so much for that inspiring. Wow, I like the conversation. Thank you so much, Sherry, for sharing us your dreams and yourself. I honor you for that. And I can't imagine the dream of walking on fire. I mean, I really appreciate the grit. Wanting to achieve that and getting to our dreams is not direct, it's not linear. There would be a lot of u-turn detours, but we press on. Now, for our HR leaders who are here today, our role is to create a visionary culture, an aspirational culture. Leaders should be able to understand and support the aspirations of its employees. And I would say dreaming is essential for leadership. That's very critical. And we all have to, aspire for something better of ourselves. Now, we all have dreams, we all have aspirations. How do we put this into action? This time, we will go to our fourth segment, the fourth letter in the acronym of PMAP, P for Prick Your Heart, and we will talk about our topic is faithful action. Let us welcome back the President and CEO of People Ignite Organizational Development and Training, JV Wong. Hi, JV, welcome back.
Hi, Jo. Nice to see you back, and I'm happy to be back. And it's my joy and honor, Jo, to introduce our finale speaker and guest of honor for PMAP. All right, without any more delay, let me introduce to you our guest speaker. He is the President and Chief Equipping Officer of Breakthrough Leadership, founder of Project Purpose of Philippines, regional representative for Lead Like Jesus in Southeast Asia, Australia, and New Zealand, and I would love to introduce this person as my good friend and learning and development partner, Coach Boris Joaquin. Hi, Boris.
Wow. Hello, JV. Hi, everyone. This is
Hi.
so delightful. I mean, People Manager magazine, remember, JV? And it just goes full circle from your time to my time. And now that's full integrated online and fully digital.
Yes, kailangan natin si EIC Jove to be with us para kompleto na yung editor-in-chief in his history of PMAP. All right, sweet, short, and sharp because you are the last speaker and we are trying our best to manage our time. First question, what is your personal point of view about your faith? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, as you know, I'm a Bible believing Christian. The Bible actually says that faith is confidence in what we hope for and the assurance that God is working even though we cannot see it. So kumbaga sa madaling salita, regardless of the situation that you may be in or in your life. It's believing that God is at work and that everything works for good. Alam mo ba, JV, na the Hebrew word for faith is enuma, which means support, which is really perfect if you think about it, diba? God supports you, or the Lord supports us because He is working in every situation for His good purpose, for our good. He knows what's best. And in every opportunity and every time, we have to make sure that we look at things by faith, not just with our own physical eyes.
Wow. And striking word, God is at work. You know, EIC, Editor-in-Chief, no? Sa
Yeah,
puso ko.
dati,
Uh,
yeah.
a while ago, we mentioned the three era in my life: before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. And I'd like to connect that whatever season we are in our life, God is at work. And
Mm.
that is how faith moves mysteriously. Our second question. So, given that, Coach Boris, with this point of view of God being at work, having faith in the invisible, in the omnipotent, omniscient, how do you try to relate this faith to your action?
Uh-huh. Well, to begin with, I think faith is always, parang it almost necessitates action. Parang you can't call it faith pag walang action. Belief lang yon. Pag faith kasi, it follows that you have to do something. That's why in the Bible it says that faith without works is dead, but it has to begin with faith, and we live by faith, not by sight. So kanina sabi ko, di ba, that God is at, actually ano yun hindi yun original ko, that came from Henry Blackaby, the author of Experiencing God. He has 7 realities in the spiritual, our spiritual connection. So the first one is God is always at work, and then second, God invites you and me to join him in his work, so it's always a privilege. So a simple example is that when we, like ako personally, if I want to help uh, children living below the poverty line, I can pray for them, but prayer is not enough. One of my advocacies right now is Save the Children, and I love them because they give an opportunity to actually show my faith in action, because you can actually help. You can feed the children, you can donate, you can sponsor children, all that. So faith in action, it follows it, even in our Christian faith. When you have faith in God, it leads to obedience. Eh di ba action pa rin yun when you obey?
And as I am unmuting, I realized I was heartstruck because faith without action
Mm-mm.
is okay and good in prayer. But faith, in reality, we have to act on it. And that's why we pay it forward. Sa kakaunti or malaking biyaya na ibinibigay ng Diyos sa atin, kailangan nating ipamahagi. So, tama ba, Coach Boris, ang narinig ko?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, faith by itself, faith should always have action. Kasi pag walang action, belief lang yun, di ba?
That's
And belief
right.
is what you think. And I think a lot of people parang they interchangeably use faith and belief wrongly.
Mhm.
And they're not the same thing, because when you believe in something, I have an opinion on something, I have this conviction, I have this worldview, that's a belief. But faith is something that you receive from someone that you believe in and leads you to certain action points or obedience in the Christian definition of faith, di ba? Parang for
Mhm.
example, if I could always say that I believe that there's a God in the universe. So that's belief, right? But if I believe that He is my God, then I should actually obey His will and His ways and whatever He tells me to do, di ba?
Grabe, in 3 points: prayer that leads into action,
Mm-mm.
action that leads into obedience, belief na being paniniwala, and action being kawang gawa. Last one before we culminate our segment. Why is it important now, Coach Boris, to really anchor your motion and your mindset on God alone?
Ay nako, I personally believe that God is sovereign, right? It's there's nothing wrong when you believe in yourself. So you can believe in yourself, but and you want to when you do things, you're motivated, you achieve things, and you have this positive thinking about it. But we're not perfect, JV, di ba? Meron tayong mga flaws. We make
May
mistakes.
quirks tayo.
May quirks tayo. May ego tayo. May problema tayo. We're not perfect. So we somehow fall short. Kumbaga, if we have a ranking system of 1 to 10, we of 1 to 100, we always fall short to 100. So a perfect God is the one that we need to believe in, and we need to have faith to, because if he is sovereign, if he is omnipresent, if he's all powerful, then our faith can be reliable. Our faith in him can be sustainable. We can pursue things. We can have second chances. We can have new
Mm.
beginnings. We can have fresh starts. And it leads us to obedience that allows us to serve others and bring glory to God.
Praise God. That's the reason why you are the last and definitely also very important finale guest speaker, because you're bringing it home that no matter what talent, no matter how much energy, no matter how much mission places we serve, we always give and bring it back to the honor of God. So, my dear friends and family of PMAP, ito na po ang pinakahuling segment, and I'm so honored and grateful to have been with Coach Boris Joaquin. Before I transition to Jo or Ma'am Joanne, ang aking key takeaway dito is that life is definitely short. It is important for you to be asking God, God, today, what do you want me to do? Do with me as you please. Do with me as you plan. On behalf of the entire PMAP community, I would like to honor and say thank you to all of our guest speakers. And as I transition to Ma'am Joanne, our host for today, Coach Boris, maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much for having me as well. God bless everyone.
God bless everybody, and back to you, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Sir Boris and Miss JV. I'm so honored that we have Sir Boris as our guest, one of our EICs we look up to as one of our mentors here in PMAT, People Magazine online. So thank you so much. And I really like the discussion about, faith is nothing if we don't see it in action. And of course, our viewers come from different religions, from different beliefs, and our faith, or I would say the spirit life, is it's really about our relationship with a higher power, right? And we all have different interpretation of faith, of spirituality, and this is where we experience all wonder, love, and also of course grace, and whatever religion we come from. And the question really is, how do we express this faith, just so that the people around us would be able to witness that faith in action? Thank you so much again, Sir Boris. And of course, I also want to thank our guests for this afternoon, Mom Ellen Pulido, our PMAP president for this year, the VP for HR of the Manila Broadcasting Company. Of course, we also want to thank Ariel Miguel Vargas Quina, and a learning consultant, Cherry Africa. Thank you so much for that far, a coach, a fire walking trainer, and the speaker. And Sir Boris, again, thank you so much. I would love to call back to our screen our segment host for this afternoon, Jove, Joan, Jackie, Cecil, and JV. Welcome back. Let's just have a quick chat about our show this
Forget that.
afternoon. And I would like to go to Jove and Joan probably. What is faith for you?
Sir Joe,
It's,
go ahead.
it's more than 10 feet. It's as high as it goes. I'm really honored to just watching JV and Boris do their chat. It's very enlightening, considering, of course, we owe it to them that we have this program today. So thank you so much. And I make before I pass it on to you guys, I'd like to make a suggestion. Having watched all the episodes today, maybe for those who are planning to get married, aside from your prenup, why don't you do a psychological contracting? Might help you with this faith in the relationship. Yes, to protect yourself mentally, emotionally, and yeah, physically. That's my take.
Thanks, Joan. How about you, Joan?
For me, I really like that in sharing ni Miss Ellen, no, ni President Ellen, that it's about communication. and that you have to keep it open, open communication, because it allows understanding between your employees and of the management, para at least yung hindi siya na misinterpret. Sometimes we do things and if hindi natin na-communicate, baka ma-misinterpret siya and sayang yung effort on the part of the organization if hindi siya
Yeah.
na-communicate properly.
Saka na-mispronounce din Miss Joan kasi kaya yung title natin is Faith to Faith kasi parang may less, originally it's face to face di ba? Naging face to face. So not mispronounce, pero magaling labas.
Yeah. And I always love the jokes of Sir Jov. And I like what Joan said about, in the organization, because we are business leaders. We are HR and business leaders. And I'm interested to hear the thoughts of our ladies guests, JV, Cecil, and Jackie. As an HR, as a business leader, how do you keep your faith, in the midst of so many challenges in the role? How do you do that? Jackie, would you like to go ahead to start?
Yeah. Thank you for the space, Joanne. I would like to connect this with a psychological contract. It is the contract with myself and God, so that I'll be able to really navigate whatever dynamics the world is offering for me. And I love also what Migs was saying, that it is your trust to yourself and trust to somebody else. And in between of that is God. And of course, the integrity that you are holding in that space, in that relationship that you are sharing with the other person. May they be leaders or your peers or somebody else. And of course, it is powerful because it is within you. It is psychological. And that's what Sir Joe was saying, before you will get married, you need to have a psychological contract so that you know very well who you are. You are deeply aware of who you are and of the person that you are getting into. Yeah,
Sir,
that's from my end.
Sir Jove, paano ako? Married na ako. Hindi kami nagkaroon ng psychological contract.
Pwede naman kasing magdagdag ng additional clause for the contract and extension.
Pwede, pwede.
When you
Yan.
reaffirm your love now.
Renewal of vows ang tawag
Yes.
dyan.
Amendment. Contract amendment na lang.
Yan, amendment. Very good.
Yeah. JV, sa next anniversary nyo, i-ano mo na.
on my 21st this year.
Wow, yes.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Anyways, Cecil, how about you? How do you keep your faith, in spite of challenges as a business leader, as an HR leader?
All right. Me, honestly, weird how my faith is, I think. I've always thought my faith is not that strong. I'm not the kind who is so devoted, who's always in church every day. But I've always been very strong in how I hope in the Lord. So for me, I think that is what essentially yun yung punot dulo ng faith ko, that hope, no? I believe that kahit na hindi ko nga alam yung hope ko, may maliit lang akong hope, it will be okay. God will take care of me. Our one audience, sabi nga ni JB earlier, he will take care of me. Now at work, no, one thing I learned is that innately lahat tayo, we want to do well, to perform, to contribute, no. So as people managers, I think that's very important for us, that faith in that fact, no, that everyone wants to do good, allows me to look at people and help them get better, instead of, 'di ba, na parang mawalan ka agad ng tiwala that your team can do it or you can do it. It took me a while to realize this. But now I would say my hope is anchored on that everyone has the desire, has the potential, and as managers, we need to be able to help them or find that and hone it, parang diamonds in the rough, and make it shine. So that's how I use my faith at work. Thank you,
Amen.
Jo.
Thanks a lot,
Medyo
Cecil.
mahaba.
Again, it was so meaningful para, it's, yeah, very, very meaningful. Thank you so much, Miss Cecil. Sister
agree.
Cecil, thank you.
Yeah.
I love
Hi,
it.
JB. How about you? What are your thoughts?
Hi, Joanne. Hi, everyone. It's my honor to be working with you on the backstage. Audience of one. pag ninenervyos na ako on many things, if I'm getting stressed, anxious of many problems or challenges around me, I just have to focus. Imagine God holding my face and He telling me, look at my face, just focus on me. Audience of one is my takeaway from this segment. Echoing Boris, Coach Boris said, faith in prayer that leads to faith in action, that leads to faith in obedience. Yun yung definition na nakuha ko po from Coach Boris.
Thank you so much, Joan, Job, JV, Cecile, and Jackie. And thank you so much to everyone who is watching with us. Thank you for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us. And I know that as leaders, as HR leaders, as business leaders, it's so difficult to keep faith. But as leaders, we have to hold on to it because our people have faith in us and we also have to have faith in them. And as leaders, it's our role to keep that faith burning, to ignite that faith. And we have to press on and have faith in the organization, in our leaders, and also in our employees. So thank you so much again for watching. And I would like to invite you all to check our People Manager magazine online. Check out www.peoplemanager.ph. And again, get featured in our magazine online by answering the question, Maki, if you can show that, how can a company best show its love for its employees? We will look for the top 5 most unique answers as judged by our editorial team, and we will feature that in our March edition. Email your answers before March 21st so that we will be able to publish that. Our show is open to partners and sponsors. Please contact Maki for details at maki.cordero@pmap.org.ph. And for those interested to join the People Management Association of the Philippines, the premier organization of HR leaders in the country, contact PMAP. The details are on your screen right now. And I want to acknowledge and introduce the committee, Nabubalol, the committee and the people behind this online program, our president, Ellen Felido, COPA, and the board of trustees, the committee members of PMAP's Branding and Marketing Committee, Media and Communications Committee, our editor-in-chief of the People Manager magazine, Joe Bataikan. We also have our technical team working behind the scenes, Sarah, Maki, Dale, and also Chino. Thank you so much for helping us. We hope that this episode was helpful and insightful for you and will help you keep the faith in yourself, in your God, in your employees, in your leaders, in your organization. Thank you so much to our viewers and listeners, sponsors, and to PMAP. Stay safe, everyone, until our next episode next month. See you all. Bye.